I've had a lot of people ask about the Heart of Worship guitar instrumental, different parts on it. So today I'm going to show you the melody and the solo sections of that song. So to start out, we're in the key of E flat, and we're going to start over here at the 5th position on the 5th fret of the D string, and we're going to go from the 1st finger to the 4th over here on the 8th fret of the D string. So we go from that 1st to the 4th finger on the 8th fret of the D, and then we're going to change strings to the A string, and then we're going to go, which is the 6th fret of the A, and slide with the 1st finger to the 8th fret of the A string. So following that slide, now we're going to use the 3rd finger on the same fret, which is the 8th fret of the A string. So we're going to use the 3rd finger. We're going to pull off to the 6th fret with the 1st. And then we're going to hit the string again. We're going to slide up to the 10th fret of the A string. And then we're going to go slide back down. We're going to hit the fret again. We're going to slide back down from the 8th fret of the A to the 6th fret. And then we're going to hit the 8th fret of the E string to the 6th fret of the A string. So that's... Now we use the 3rd finger, pull off, slide to the 10th fret, 1st finger on the 8th string, slide back down to the 6th fret of the A, and then we use the 3rd finger for the 8th fret of the E string to the 6th fret of the A string with the 1st finger. A little bit of vibrato. And then we just play that same opening part. Slide, and then that's the slide from the 6th fret of the E to the 8th fret and back down. So we're just going to play that same part again. So only difference is we're ending from that slide from the 6th fret of the A to the 8th fret of the A string. So the whole thing for the first part is So the next part is starting from I'll Bring You More Than a Song. So it's going to be the 5th fret, 5th position, the D string. We're going to use the 1st finger to the 2nd finger of the 6th fret of the D. Back to the 1st finger on the 5th fret of the D. And then we're going to use the 3rd finger on the 8th fret of the A string to the 6th fret of the A string, and then we're going to slide. So and then we're going to use that same figure with the slide that we used before. The 3rd finger. And then a little embellishment on the 8th fret of the D string. So it's a hammer on to the 10th fret, back to the 8th fret of the D, to the 10th fret of the A, and then 8th fret to the 10th fret, hammer on to the G string of the 8th fret. So we're at "You Search Much Deeper Within." It's the same as before, through the way things appear. And then "You're Looking Into My Heart." That's the hammer on from the 5th fret to the 6th with the middle finger. And then the middle finger is hammer on. So you're looking it's a hammer on from the 6th fret to the 8th fret of the D string. First finger of the 6th fret of the A string. And I'm going to slide from the 8th fret to the 10th fret of the D string. And then use the first finger and hit the 8th fret. And then hammer on from 8th fret of the D to the 10th fret, all the way to the G string on the 8th fret. And then bend. Whole step bend. Back down. 10th fret to the 8th fret of the G. We're finally at the chorus. I'm coming back to the heart of worship. So we're going to start at the 8th fret of the B string. We're going to hammer on to the 11th fret of the B. And then we're going to go to the 8th fret of the G. So and from there, we're going to use the pinky that was on the 11th fret of the B string, and we're going to slide. And we're going to use the middle finger on the 11th fret of the B. From there, we're going to use the first finger to slide from the 10th fret of the G string. Right here is a slide from the 10th fret. We're going to slide up to the 12th fret and then back down. And if you have a decent amount of sustain, you can just slide up and then down, just one pick. Now we're at "Cause It's All About You," which is going to be first finger of the 8th fret on the G string to the 10th fret, hammer on the G. Slide with the 3rd finger to the 12th fret of the G string. That's a little hammer on from the 12th fret to the 13th fret of the G string. Cause it's all about you. And then slide from the 8th fret to the 10th, back to the 8th. So we play this whole section twice. So we go. next we have a brief instrumental break. So we're gonna be over here at the 11th fret of the high E string. Hammer on to the 13th fret of the E string. So that's 10th fret of the E to the 13th, or it's 11th fret of the E to the 13th, sorry. And then there's the 10th fret of the E. First finger down to the second finger on the 11th fret of the B string. And then we're going to slide from the 13th fret with the pinky of the E to the 15th fret. I'm going a little bit of vibrato. And then we're going to be on the 16th fret of the high E string. That's 16, 15, 13. And then 16 on the B string. And 15 on the B string. Vibrato. And then back into the verse. We're at verse number 2, so we're going to be up an octave from the melody that we played when we started the song. So that's the 8th fret of the B string with the first finger going to the 11th fret of the B string. So that's the 8th fret of the G. Sliding to the 10th fret of the G. Third finger on the 10th fret of the G string. Pull off. Slide back down, just like we played at the beginning. Right? And then a little embellishment. So the whole thing, that's real quick. That is 11th fret of the E. Pull off to the 10th fret of the high E. Little finger on the 11th fret of the B string. First finger on the 10th fret of the G string. Sliding down from that 10th fret of the G to the 8th fret of the G, and then another slide back down to the 7th fret of the G string. And then middle finger on the 8th fret of the D string. So continuing with the verse. Right, that leads up to I Will Bring You More Than a Song. So 10th fret of the G. Sliding from the 11th fret of the B string to the 13th fret. Middle finger on the 11th fret of the B. Third finger on the 12th fret of the G. right? Now we're on I'll Bring You More Than a Song. Just like we played an octave lower earlier. But we're on the 8th fret, starting with the first finger. Back down to the G string. And then that's the same embellishment up an octave that we played earlier at the start of the song, except it starts on the 11th fret of the B, hammer on to the 13th fret, middle finger on the 12th fret of the G, hammer on from 11 on the B to the 13th. So and then we're going to play it one more time. And then we're going to go that's hammer on from the 11th of the B to the 11th of the E, whole step bend from the 13th to the 15th fret, back down, and that's going to lead back to the chorus. So we're on the second chorus, up an octave on the 15th fret of the high E string. That's the 15th to the 18th with the pinky, back off, pull off to the 15th. Middle finger on the 16th of the B string. And then pinky slides from the 18th fret to the 20th. Middle finger grabs the 18th fret. And then slide down from the first finger 15th fret to the 13th. And then first finger on the 11th fret. Hammer on to the 13th. And then hammer on from the middle finger. So that was first, hammer on with middle, and then hammer on with the pinky finger. So that's there's that slide, third finger on the 15th fret. Again. And then first finger 13th. Down to the 11th, so. So the solo section is going to be coming up. And one quick note on the after the second part of I do the slide from the 13th the first time, but the second time I shift the position to prepare for the solo that comes up. So after that part, now I shift positions and I go pinky on the 18th fret to middle finger of the 16th fret, so that I'm in position for the solo that comes up. So the solo part, after right now, that's 16th of the B with this middle finger, hammer on to the 18th fret with the pinky, first finger 15th fret of the B string, 15th fret of the G there, that's the 18th fret with the pinky finger, whole step bend, back down to the 18th, hammer off with to the middle finger on the 16th fret of the B, that's third finger of the 17th fret of the G to the 16th fret of the B. And then from there, that's going to go into the run that descends down, which is so. Like that. And then pinky, that's 18th fret of the B string, first finger of the 15th fret of the high E, middle finger 16th fret of the high E, and then we're going to start with the pinky to do the descending run that's going to happen right now. So the descending run from the 15th fret, or sorry, the 18th fret with the pinky finger, this is going to be the same thing going down 3 octaves. So that's 18th fret, 16th fret, 15th fret, same thing down on the B string. Right, we're going to do it twice. Right, and then we're going to go down an octave, 15th fret of the G string with the pinky finger. Right, it's the 15th, 13th, and 12th of G, 15th, 13th, and 12th of D, and then down another octave, starting on the 13th with the pinky finger, 13, 11, 10 on A, and then 13 and 11 and 10 on E. So that's twice each string. Right? And you may be able to pull that off only from the picking the first note. Or you can pick it all. Right? And then I play. That's A string, 10th fret, 11, 13, 10th fret D string, 13th fret D string. Something like that. So from there, we're going to go into a major 7th arpeggio. So that's pinky on the 13th fret of the D, 3rd finger, 12th fret of the G, 11th fret, middle finger, B string, 1st finger, 10th fret, high E. We hammer on from that 10th on top. Tenth fret, B string, middle finger, pinky, 13th fret. Pull off to the 11th, and then 12th fret with the 3rd finger on G string. And then 1st finger on the 10th fret of the high E. And then the part that leads into the tapping section is that's starting on the B string, 11th fret, 1st finger. It's 11 to 13. That's 3rd finger, 12th fret, G, 10th fret, 1st finger, G, sliding down. That's 10th to the 8th to the 10th on the D, to the 8th fret of the G, sliding from that 8th fret to the 10. And that's the 7th fret of the G string with the 1st finger. So we're finally on the tapping section, and the last thing that I showed was 1st finger on the 7th fret of the G. So we're going to slide the finger up to the 8th fret of the G string, and we're going to have a little bit of a stretch. And our 1st finger is going to be hitting the 8th fret, our pinky finger is going to be hitting the 12th fret, and the middle finger is going to be on the 10th of that G string, and we're going to be tapping starting on the 15th fret of the G string with our middle finger. So I'm going to start with a little kind of tap and pull. Have my 1st finger on the 8th fret of the G. Right. Pinky comes on to the 12th fret of the G. Then the pinky goes off. Now the middle finger is on the 10th fret of the G. Now the pinky comes back on, I tap again. So this hand is going. And this and then we're going to take that pattern down in the scale. So and that part is 1st finger of the G string, 7th fret, pinky on the 10th fret of the G, middle finger on the 8th fret of the G. So those are going. And these patterns are always going to be first finger, pinky, middle, pinky, first finger, pinky, middle, pinky. It's going to repeat throughout the entire length of the tapping. So back up. So we just took it up again in the scale. So that's 10th fret, first finger, G, pinky on 13th fret, G, ring finger on 12th fret of the G string. So and then from there we go up in the scale and we move the tapping finger up to the 17th fret. It was on the 15th fret before. And now we have first finger G still on the 12th fret, and then pinky on the 15th, and then middle 13th of G. So as I'm tapping, so that's and slower. And then we're going to start the tapping on the high E string. So this higher tapping part is going to require a new set of strings that we're playing on, or a new string that we're playing on rather. I ended up playing on the original video, I played it on the high E string, which is going to be like this. That might be too much of a stretch for some of you, might be a little bit uncomfortable. If you want to play it up higher, you might be able to put it like that on the B string. But I did it on the high E. I don't remember exactly why, but it's just the way it worked out. So that is going to be 6th fret of the high E, first finger. And we're going to go with the pinky on the 11th fret of the high E, and then 3rd finger, 10th fret. So right, tapping is going to be done on the 15th to start. If you need to do it on the B string, that's 11th on the first finger, B string, and then the pinky on the 16th fret of the B, and the 3rd finger on the 15th fret. And then you're going to be tapping on the 20th fret in that case. Right. So and then we're going to go down in the pattern. So that's first finger 6th, then 10th with the pinky, and then 8th with the middle. So tapping on the 13th fret, right? And that would be and then on the B, which is 11th fret, B, first finger, pinky finger, 15th fret, and then middle 13th fret, B, and then tapping on the 18th fret. Right. Real quickly, I'm tapping with the middle finger in this so I can keep the pick the same grip. You might want to change the grip so that your pick is positioned in between your middle finger. Some people do that, but for this, originally I think that I just held the pick the same, so I just used the middle finger. Right? So I take that up in the scale. That's 10th. That's 8th fret, first finger, high E, 13th fret, pinky, or 11th fret, pinky, I'm sorry, and then the 10th fret of the middle finger. And then still tapping. So. Right, and then that's one more time taking it up in the scale. That's the 10th, 11th, 13th. And then it's tapping. 15th, 16th, back to 15th. Ending on the 11th fret of the high E. All right, so after that tapping, which is right, pull off from the 11th fret with the middle finger, the 10th fret, first finger, middle finger, 11th fret, B, and then the 10th fret, first finger of the G, slide down to the 8th fret, 10th fret D, 8th fret G, right, band whole step with the 3rd finger on the 10th fret, back down, pull off from the 10th to the 8th, and then 10th fret D to 8th fret G. Right, and then next part is that's 10th fret, 8th fret, first finger, D string, 10th fret, D string, right? That went up to the 8th fret of the G, 10th, 10, 8, 10, fret G, string skip, 10, 8, 10, 8th fret B string, same thing, but now we land on the 9th fret of the B string. So next we have another tapping section, and that's going to be starting with the first finger, 8th fret high E. We're going to go, we just did. So we're going to pick the high E, pinky on the 11th, tapping the 13th. So this is going to be all pentatonic. So if you know your pentatonic boxes, this is just 2 boxes linked together. And the pattern is now we're going to hammer on from nowhere. Right? So on the high E, you have fingers on the 1st, on the 8th fret, the 11th, and then tapping 13th. When you go to B, you're going to be 8th fret, 11th fret, and then 13th. And when you go to G string, you're going to be 8th fret, 10th fret, and 12th fret. When you go to the D string, you're going to be the 8th fret, the 10th fret, and the 13th fret. And that's the bending from the 13th fret, hop a whole step. So this one can be a little tricky because you're doing a little bit of a weird thing with the hammer on from nowhere. And then we're activating after we get all the way back down. And we start with the tap on the 10th. So the tapping is happening twice. So it's each tap is going to be twice on on each string. So you can start with it's a good exercise. Tap 13, pull off, pinky is on 11th fret, tap with the middle on 11th fret. Here comes the hammer on again. So after that tapping into the bend, so that's the bending up a whole step. Back down, 11th fret. Back to 13th. We can shift and go to the 18th fret. Middle finger, 16th fret B. Pinky, 18th fret B. And then 15, 18 on E. And then bend whole from the 18th fret of the high E. That's 15th, 15th B, and then resolving with the 16th fret of B. And then if you want to close the song with I'll Bring You More Than a Song, you go.